Hello everyone, this is Timothy with Computer Aided Instruction. In this series I want to put some thought into the design and development of a website. So this series is going to be off the cuff, it's going to be unscripted, and I kind of want to have just some fun with it, so let's get started. In this video I want to talk about the development of a sitemap. A sitemap is basically going to be an index of all of the pages on your website. And you don't have to use any expensive tools to make a sitemap. All you really need is something like Microsoft Word. So let's go ahead and make an online comic book store, and let's create a sitemap for that. So what pages would you normally see on a website, for one thing? That's one thing we want to consider. I'm just going to use I'm just creating a bulleted list. So the first page that you're obviously going to see is the home page. Let's give our comic book store a name. Let's call it maybe the Southern Comic Book Repository or something like that. In case you didn't know, I'm in the South, somewhere in the United States. That covers a lot of ground, but nevertheless. Another common page to include on your website is an About page. So we could give some information about the store, maybe the store's history. Let's just say we were established in 2007 or something like that. Who knows? Maybe I can include a bio of the owner. Maybe you want to know where I went to school or something like that. I guess we could have a page dedicated to Marvel Comics. Well, it wouldn't be a page, it would be an entire section. We could have one dedicated to DC Comics, one for indie comics. Maybe trading cards, posters, and a contact page. So if we want to have like the contact page, it wouldn't need to have a bunch of subpages. It could have maybe just a form so that people could fill it out to ask us a question. And it could also have information about maybe the address, the phone number, maybe a Google map of showing you like where we're situated in whatever city we're in, things like that. So under Marvel Comics we could have different sub-pages for all of the different superheroes, like Spider-Man. This is a pretty good sitemap so far. Different titles for Spider-Man would be Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular, Web of Spider-Man, etc. And we could also look at trade paperbacks. Trade paperbacks are basically like a collection of individual Spider-Man issues into one bound volume to give you one complete story at one time. So it's just a pretty easy way to see a story from start to finish. Now I'm going to highlight all of this and copy it. And this could basically be our sitemap. It's just a collection of pages. You get the idea that these are the top level headings. So if we had a horizontal menu at the top of the page, like we'll have a banner at the top, then the menu, Home, About, Marvel Comics, DC Comics, Indie Comics, Manga, Anime, Toys. These would be the top level menu items. And then when you hover your mouse over each of these items, you could expect to see maybe like a drop down menu or like a panel that slowly collapses under the main menu with all of these sublinks to take you to different sections. You wouldn't expect to see the sublinks for all of the different titles for Spider-Man. You would just expect to see the superheroes, and then you would click one of the superheroes, and then you would see like the specific comic book titles on a different page. You can't make your menus too busy, or it could be overwhelming. But I mean, it depends on what you want to go for. If you're willing to have multiple levels of links, that's cool. It just depends. Now let's create a visual sitemap, because I mean, having this list of just different pages is cool, but some people like to see it visually, and it just helps them to process everything. So what we could do is just to create a sitemap manually by just putting a bunch of blocks on the page and then typing in the names of our pages. So home, about, and then we could draw lines showing how they connect to each other. Like this. Drawing this all out manually will take forever. So let's create a new slide, and let's go to Insert, Smart Art. Let's click Hierarchy, and let's use one of these flowcharts. That's essentially what we're trying to create. It's just a chart that shows how all the different pages flow from 1 to the X, and to show some hierarchy as well. So this one's pretty good. This one looks pretty good. That's basically the same thing. Well, not really. This one's more vertical. Let's go for one of these. Let's just use this one. Now, ordinarily, when you add a smart art to your PowerPoint slide, it's going to appear like this. The text field was collapsed. So what you want to do is you want to click your smart art, and you want to click this arrow on the left hand side of the art, and that'll toggle the text field to appear. And then you can just start typing in or what you want your grids, the text to be in each individual square, or what we could do is just copy and paste what we wrote in our Word doc. And there you have a nicely formed visual sitemap. Let me look through to make sure all of my links are populating properly. Looks good. Now, if I want to add additional pages like right here, right now, let me click X-Men. Let me hit enter. That's going to just put another square to the right of X-Men, and it's going to put it on the same level as all the other superheroes. But if I want to talk about like what specific X-Men titles are available in our comic book store, I don't want it to be next to X-Men, I want it to be below it. So what I want to do is click this bullet and hit the tab key to move it over. So that's making it a sub-item of this list item. So let's talk about maybe Wolverine. I guess he might still have a comic book title that's out there. So if I did want this to be not a subtitle for X-Men, I would just click the bullet, click the backspace key, and that's going to move it back and make it on the same level. But if I think it should be a sub-item of X-Men, then I'm going to hit the tab key to move it over. So that's how you can make a visual sitemap using PowerPoint. If you don't like using Microsoft products, and that's perfectly understandable, there are free tools you can use to make a sitemap, like Canva for one, canva.com. You can create an account, you can create a free account. I wouldn't necessarily make a paid investment until you get the hang of Canva and decide if it has all the features that you want and the functionality that you like. So just type in sitemap here, and then it'll take you to a screen where you can go ahead and create one without even creating an account, which is pretty cool. So if you want to use these templates, you're going to have to create an account, and apparently you're going to need a pro account, so a free account's not going to do it. But if you just want to make something from scratch, you could. I need to experiment with Canva before I recommend this, but nevertheless, this is something that you have an option of using. Let's just go to DuckDuckGo. That's my site engine of choice. Just type in sitemap creator with an O. Best online sitemap generators in 2022. Getmind, flow maps, right maps. Oh, sorry. So this is basically what I was trying to create earlier using PowerPoint. So if you don't want to use PowerPoint, Getmind looks like something would be promising. Miro looks promising. Creately. You're just going to have to experiment with these different tools on your own. Figure out which ones are free. Figure out which ones are available for PC or Mac or whatever operating system you're using. And just give it a shot. If it's free, and you can do some research on the individual software to make sure other people aren't saying that it's going to give you a bug or crash your system or anything like that. I don't recommend just downloading stuff blindly just because a blog recommended it, but do some research and see if other people have said that this is a good tool, and you don't have to worry about downloading it from this site or something like that. So in the next video, we're going to talk about wireframing. So we're actually going to be building out a mock-up of a home page and maybe one other page from the website. So thank you for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. Take care.